Lali-Ho, free enterprise friends, and welcome to the beginning of the round of 32 of the bracket stage of the Lali-Ho League, where we have an excellent matchup between Dragus Cloud and ZoeVermilion. I am one of your co-commentators, Groundflyer, and with me is Lady Id. What do you think of this matchup?
This is a matchup I am very excited for, and early good evening to you, Ground Flyer. It's also great to be here. Dragus Cloud starts in 1-0, having played through their Lali-Ho Swiss seeds at 15 points. They start out at 1-0. ZoeVermilion, also a very good runner. Since they finished 12 points, they're going to be starting 0-1. So it's a best of 3. You're going to have to win 2 to move on. So unfortunately, Zoe does start 0-1. But yeah, it's going to be very, very exciting to get into it.
Yeah, totally. Zoe has her work cut out for her, but V is awesome. I've seen a lot of her races, and you can't rest on Zoe. Zoe can absolutely win this. Dragus Cloud has been amazing too. I feel like his name just keeps coming up in victory after victory. I hear his name quite often, although he's pretty new. But yeah, this is going to be a great matchup, regardless. And the objectives are pretty interesting. We have 2 boss objectives. Leviathan and Bahamut are the random objectives. What do you think about having those?
I like, we were talking a little bit about this ahead of time. We do like the 2 summon bosses, both kind of the dragon class, the Leviathan and defeat Bahamut. So, you're going to see a little bit more face checking of bosses. You're going to be seeing, checks probably through Watery Pass for mist, maybe to try to clear them. Or maybe you kind of keep them in the back of your mind and think, maybe you'll get lucky and see them at ordeals, place with a higher density of bosses. You get 3 bosses at ordeals, you get 2 bosses at Baron Inn. So it'll be very interesting to see how our runners will tackle this and what the routing will be.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting with Tella here as well. He's a very good player. He's got good utility. He doesn't hit for anything early on, so not exactly a powerhouse if you're trying to get something going and beat up bosses. And Rydia definitely helping because she's extremely weak as well. Bacchus wine is for their troubles, and I don't think either of these racers or either of these characters are going to really be ones to be using a Bacchus wine swinging with their little sticks and stuff.
Now, you're not terribly excited to see that Rydia. Tella, actually, I really don't mind Tella either as a start. You do get access to Blink, you get Exit. It lets you loot some of the deeper areas, like Watery Pass. You can kind of clear through there and know you have a quick way to get out. So, but we are going to be looking for some kind of power to start this. Something to jumpstart this. We're not going to be seeing any Stardust rods. You got to imagine they're going to be going to Hobbs to check that summon we get, because otherwise, you're going to wonder where's the power coming from early on anyway.
Ooh, speaking of power, there's a DKC, but a Mist Dragon bonus round is the first boss there, so it would definitely behoove the runners to get that done soon-ish if they have the power to, which they probably don't right now. But that'll give an extra key item check for them once they complete that boss. They get to go to Mist and Rydia's mom will give you a nice key item for your troubles.
Yeah, we see Dragus Cloud spending a little bit more time looting back of Baron. Does find a Mute Dagger, which is actually pretty nice. When we do get that Cecil, will help out against those mage type enemies. Zoe going right for Evelyn Castle, actually. That's a very interesting play. There's, a high density of chests there. There's a little bit higher weighted loot to find. So it's going to be very interesting to see what V pulls from this.
Wow. And then just like that, like as you were saying that sentence, I saw two summons pop up. I mean, it's not, Leviathan, but an Ashura, which will be really helpful if there's no healer found elsewhere, and an Odin, which could be a little bit of utility if you have some enemies with some bosses with a boss bit or some other enemies you want to take out. You can just one shot them with that. So not too bad. But yeah, this is because it's T Pro. The checks are weighted sort of in the direction of places that are either key item gated or have like monster boxes and are tougher. And so the boxes in here are going to be a little bit better. It's not going to be as good as when you have T Wildish, but it's still going to be pretty good. Although I feel like thus far we haven't seen amazing stuff here yet, and there's one of the monsters, so he's going to have to reset out of this.
Yeah, Dragus Cloud does pick up an Elven Bow out of Watery Pass. Other than that, hasn't really found anything too nice, although I say that. And then we do find a Dwarf Axe. That was a starting item out of the Swiss flags, and very sorely missed out of the bracket flags. So to find this early on is amazing. I don't know that, Zoe, having done this Dwarf Castle, is going to bother with Watery Pass. This could be a big advantage to get their, when we get Cecil, any other melee characters that can use that Dwarf Axe to get them back road. Also for that -5 agility, that's a very big pickup.
Yeah, absolutely. The agility is a huge thing. If you're trying to deal with some sort of anchoring situation, who knows? But that's really helpful, especially for Kayn, who does not get the ability to back row via any other item. So that makes Kayn way more viable if you get that early on. So that's a pretty spicy item to get this early. And it looks like Zoe is continuing to kind of trek through this whole place. But in the meantime, that's really gross. So on Hobbs, we have Rosa, who's the best white mage, one of the best characters in the game, no question. But Valvalis is in her way, and that's one of the nastiest bosses there, especially when you have no physical damage. Like, there's literally no way for Dragus to be able to beat that boss right now. He's got to go find some stuff. So these racers are not being given anything for free. This is extremely difficult to start.
Dragus Cloud does pick up a self-summon. That's pretty good out of Antlion. But yeah, I shake my head at that that Valvalis. I mean, pretty much acting as a gate for that Rosa. We'll see when our runners will be able to take that spot. That's not something you're going to be able to do just quite right away. You're going to have to get a couple levels, and yeah. I mean, the good thing is, we'll get that Rosa to start as soon as you enter that Val fight, but that's still going to be a very rough encounter.
Truly. Although I am reading in chat here, Possum Morpheus and Venerable helping out that that spot actually, there isn't extra physical defense, and so an Elven Bow and aim could actually get through that hair tornado. So it's possible if you give Rydia bow and arrow. It's still going to have to deal with getting hit a lot, but that's definitely an improvement. And at least Tella does have blink and also heal, so you could use him to keep the stone off and just have her kind of go to town. You did get that Bacchus wine. This might actually not be a terrible time to try and use that sort of thing, because it's going to be a slog to get through it, but Rosa is going to be an immense reward.
Boy, can I ask what our runners did to kind of tick off our restreamer? I mean, this is about the rudest start I think you can find, because here's a Mom Bomb at Antlion, and just with the amount of HP this spot has, for the power of this party is pretty rude. Thank goodness Tella, and his, I would say, massive HP pool at this point in the game, because otherwise, yeah, I'm not sure how they'd get through this.
Yeah, it's tough, and not only that, but you get through the HP, and then Mom Bomb explodes, and you have to not only survive the explosion, but then beat up all of the baby bombs. So this is nasty. There's really no place that these runners are getting any free rides. But once at least Dragus Cloud, since he got that Sylph, once he can get at least a couple levels off of a boss, he'll have access to that Sylph summon. Right now, Rydia doesn't have enough MP, so that's going to be a huge advantage too, because then that Sylph is actually going to be able to do work on everybody except for that Valvalis.
Yeah, and good thing Zoe actually does go to Watery Pass, does pick up that Dwarf Axe, so V is looking in good shape as well. Uh, Going to be taking those back chests out of Damsian too. So I actually still really like this, even on T Pro. It's still a high density of chests. Uh, you're going to be finding a lot of junk items. As V pulls, I think 4 or 5 0 GP chests. Uh, which is a change from the Lali-Ho flag sets. The fact that all junk items that you would have normally gotten the gold equivalent for in Lali-Ho Swiss, now you just get nothing because everything sells for nothing in shops.
Yeah, it's very rude. Dealing with shops is very rude, and I believe I might be corrected. I believe the starting gold, like you start with a random amount of gold with one of the kits. I don't recall which one, and I think it's like between 20 and 70,000, and they I think got 24,000, which is awful. So that means it's even hard for them to buy stuff in shops, let alone like what they can get anywhere else, and let alone the characters that they're dealing with. So, as rude starts go, this is definitely proving to continue to not disappoint.
Yeah, and we do see Dragus Cloud really kind of holding on to that Zeus rage they got, opting to defeat 3 of the Grey Bombs with the Thor rage. I do like that move, just because you don't know when you may need that Thor rage, or I'm sorry, that Zeus rage to get through a ruder spot. Meanwhile, we do see Zoe does pick up Titan out of that free summon spot out of Hobbs. So when we get Rydia some levels, some MP, that's a good way to kind of clear out some of these early checks.
And Dragus Cloud rewarded with a ninja shirt. Something that none of his characters can wear because he does not have an edge. So that's unfortunate. All that work and nothing. And he wasn't even able to keep Rydia alive for that, so she did not get the XP, so she still can't use Sylph yet.
Yeah, and even more unfortunate is that I noticed Dragus Cloud ran out of MP during that fight, had to cast Psych to try to get some MP back from one of the bombs. Only picked up 2 MP, so has to walk this out. So it's a little bit more of a time sink, especially. So that's kind of a feel bad moment.
I feel like this whole seat so far has been a feel bad moment. Honestly, I'm loving this. I love Rude. I mean, who doesn't? Who's watching that doesn't love seeing just absolute trash fire? And so far, I mean, as early games go, this is definitely one of the grosser things I've ever seen. So amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic because you get to see, runners of these caliber, see what they're going to pull out of their hat. They're very, very bare and limited, but what do they have to try to push through? How are they going to get creative? What's their strategy for getting past just absolute just roadblocks?
So I just noticed actually, and I think that came from Damsian because I saw Dragus Cloud get it too. There were some mute arrows. So the nice thing about this fight here on Hobbs is that you actually get the character before the fight. So because Rose is in the party, she was able to take on that Elven Bow as well as mute arrows, which, as far as anybody doing damage here, is the most you're going to do. So she's at least putting in a little bit of work, but she's going to have to survive a number of hits to be able to make it all the way through. So even this fight with the most advantage you can get is still going to be rough.
Yeah, we do see that Rosa putting out about 160. I think this spot has about 1200 HP, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood. So you're really hoping that Rosa doesn't take well, I was going to say take a week, but there goes Tella, and then there goes the week, and there goes the reset for Zoe.
Yeah, so that might not be the first boss you fight, and of course Zoe's going to find out. The first boss to fight is also not tremendously great at Mom Bomb, although maybe V will have a better job to be able to keep that Rydia up and get that XP. Actually, did Zoe get the Sylph? I did not see where that exactly came from. It was in the Watery Pass, I believe. But
no, Zoe just picked up the Sylph from Antlion. So Zoe kind of following the same footsteps as Dragus, which you like to see. You want to see runners pick up the same loot because then they have the same things to work with, so that there's no difference. That one picked up a self summon and the other one didn't, and just find themselves in just two different spots. Here it's just a match of who's going to be able to complete their, checks efficiently at this point.
Yeah, I mean, just like the littlest of little things are going to make a huge difference. Who gets, who gets XP on this for this thing, or who gets this one item, because anything that can do anything is a game changer at this point. But also finding something that can actually do enough damage to be able to take out stuff is going to be spicy in itself. Actually, it looked like Dragus Cloud was going to start doing some random boss encounters or random encounters here, so hopefully to get Rydia levels, which is a good idea to get that Sylph online.
Yeah, unfortunately, didn't save at the save point. Saves right outside of Ordeals, so they're going to have to walk back in. Zoe does opt to use the Gaia Drum to clear through those Mom Bombs, so Zoe's going to be clearing through this ant line a little bit quicker than Dragus Cloud did. So Dragus, a little bit, maybe might be a little bit behind, for taking, that wipe and then having to walk this back out. And Zoe also has the MP also to exit out with Tella.
Yeah, love that. Love the exit mage. Just love it this early on, because it makes that getting out of Antlion Cave that much quicker. But he got Rydia the levels there, and so I believe Rydia has enough MP to be able to use Sylph, and because of the Sylph glitch, Rydia can use Sylph unlimited times as long as she's not in the middle slot, and she will not lose MP. So she's just going to be the weapon for basically the whole early game at this point, because that Sylph is going to do work.
Yeah, and Zoe, meanwhile, is going to be going to Fabul while Dragus Cloud tries to get through these. Lilith, unfortunately, did start the fight in the front row, forgot to, put them in the back row, does remember now, but we'll see who the boss is here at Fabul.
And a CPU. Actually, you know what? That Sylph says hi. That's an amazing thing for Sylph, because Sylph, unlike most spells, can actually target single targets. Unlike summons, can target single target, and unlike spells, will not get reflected, even though CPU has a wall up. So this is actually like a perfect thing to have for this fight, and Zoe's going to make quick work out of it.
Yeah, it's probably the one time you are actually not at all upset to see CPU. The Sylph just doing amazing work. CPU has about 1500 HP. Those remedies coming out for about 10% of its max HP. Two Sylph summons cleans this up pretty nicely.
Whew. But on the other end, on Dragus Cloud's end, it looks like he's still been having some trouble just getting enough levels and get actually working on something here. So it's going to be some work. Looks like maybe he switched saves. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I saw someone in chat point out earlier. It's something I've seen some runners do. I've done it before. Where you might say, maybe I'll just go to Mist Cave and just peek that boss there. And if it's easy enough, just do it quickly, just to get some XP, just to get some HP on Rydia. Just because just getting those early levels is just such a slog. The poor girl, she just takes any hit and just immediately just goes down.
Yeah, she cannot survive anything.
No,
but,
she cannot.
I mean, the downside to doing that is I don't know if Mist does not give very much XP, so I'm not sure if Rydia would get enough levels to be able to use that Sylph, or would still need another fight. But yeah, obviously, like, any hit points on anything above 30 is good.
We see Dragus Cloud going to Troya. What do you think this plays about? Just to try to get some, I don't know, maybe some more Cure 2s?
Yeah, have they found any? Oh, well, there you go. Actually, there's your answer. Because Cure 2s and life potions. But yeah, I'm guessing that Dragus kept running into a wall trying to actually finish a fight and couldn't heal himself. So that's going to make a huge difference. Hopefully that will give him enough protection so he can go take on something. And Zoe has finished the CPU fight.
Yeah, it's just another reminder of this the starting kit, just things you take for granted, like having cure twos and life pots. You don't get. You have to find them somewhere. So, um, meanwhile, we do see a rat tail for ZoeVermilion. Not going to help us out right now, but could potentially lead to another key item or another rabbit hole whenever we do find that hook, if we find it.
Yeah, just to shout out the other people on the Restream team, because poor Klopfer, as a tracker, just pushed his first button 17 minutes in. So, I don't know if somebody had to like poke him to wake him up or something, but hey, just a reminder to be conscious, I guess. And then also to Neobari for rolling this straight trash, and obviously more importantly, bringing this broadcast to all of us. Thank you so much for all your work, and thank all of you for watching, because we can't do this without you.
Yeah, and I give a shout out to my co-commentary, Ground Flyer, for joining me on this fantastic race tonight. That does have key items. I am told it has key items. It does have objectives somewhere. But yes, Ground Flyer, please give him a follow as well.
Thank you. Yeah, likewise to Lady Id. You're pretty awesome. This has been a lot of fun. Probably more fun than that race we did in Swiss rounds.
I remember that vividly. Yeah.
I will remember it forever, probably waking up in a cold sweat, because required giant is a nightmare. Oh, wow. But Zoe just finds out that the second boss here, first boss was missed, bonus round. Second boss is free. King Queen Eblin absolutely just going to not do anything and lose, because it's one of the freest fights in the game, maybe the freest fight in the game. So that's a huge advantage Zoe's going to get here, also being able to check and see if there maybe is a second key item in this seed.
Yeah, meanwhile, poor Dragus just having just a nightmare of a time just to get, this Lilith fight down. I don't know what it is, if they're just getting high rolls on their damages. There's a 72, but there's a bop immediately on Rydia. Just can't seem to find a way to get these loyalists down to get the MP the XP they desperately need.
Wow, and Baron Inn brings Darkness Crystal, so Moon is accessible now, as well as another character. Because guess what? These folks are going to want characters, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Virgo up there pretty early and check that out. But yeah, Dragus Cloud just struggling to get those levels and keeps trying to take on these Liliths, but the downside is the way he's set up right now, especially that Tella's in the middle, and Tella, well, I don't know, Rydia is, I guess, base level, so I don't know what her agility is, but right now they're so slow that the Liliths are getting multiple hits off each round, so it's not super advantageous for him to be doing this.
Yeah, it actually, Rydia starts out at 4 agility. I believe Tella is at, I'm going to say 8 or 9. In the middle here, or I would say you want somebody faster to kind of slow down these enemies. The problem is these two characters are just so weak that you get one hit on Rydia and then you're just left with just Tella on a 1 or 2 Liliths. Does get the blink up. Hopefully you can get that Rydia back up now, throw out a Cure 2 and just get some levels up. Zoe does immediately bank right for Mysidia to raise that whale, and we'll see who that character is down at the dais.
And again, Dragus gets almost there, gets the Rydia up, and then boom, one shot as Tella's throwing out the Cure 2, so he has to start the whole fight over. Oof. I feel like I'd start fighting other stuff at this point, because this fight is just not working. Like, all you need is a couple levels, so it's tough. But actually, that switch may do some work. We'll see how that goes, but the speed is just kind of tough.
Yeah, Zoe going to be checking the shop down here. It's a gated shop, so you're going to be seeing those higher tier items like sirens. Unfortunately, given the absolute low roll on this gold they start with, they're not going to be buying really anything expensive anytime soon, either of our runners. Yeah,
having 24,000, you're going to need to take on a couple of bosses to actually get to get the what you need to be able to buy like real amounts of that stuff. And Dragus Cloud just keeps getting kind of board faced here. Like every time, it's like Rydia's taking 2 hits every time. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I'm just shaking my head. I feel, just feel pretty awful at this point for them. Just can't just seem to catch a break. Losing the coin flips on those Lilith hits, they just have it out for poor Rydia tonight.
But at least, at least he's got a good strategy of getting that Thor Rage out. If he can just have Rydia not take 1 hit, maybe he might be able to get some levels. But yeah, Zoe gets for her troubles going up and checking Moon character and Edward. So still not given too much power here. This early game just astounding. Although like a pickup like that, V just got a samurai arrows out of this the Cave Bahamut, and like something like that, something that small could be a tremendous advantage.
Oh, and thank goodness, Dragus Cloud finally wins the kind of war of attrition, gets that Zeus Rage out, gets both those Liliths down, gets Rydia up to level 12. Going to be using that cabin to heal them up, and can now start actually, hopefully making some progress here.
Yeah, because wow. Zoe also I think got a ninja hat, so that's going to be really helpful, not only defense but also agility. And right now with the characters being this low level and not particularly great agility this early on, that could actually be a huge deal.
I did notice Zoe did go through Cape Value and check the boss. I can't say that I saw who that boss was. I don't know if you spotted it or for anybody in chat.
It was one of the guard sets. I'm not sure which one. We saw the guard icon. So it could be either the Baron guards, which are the 2 guards that are mage types that are, that cast spells and stuff, or it could be the Kaipo guards, which is the 1 guy shouting to the other 3 guys to fight. And then if you take out the 3 guys, he runs, or if you take out him, the other soldiers start fighting each other. But Miss Dragon brings some required goods here with Twin Harp. Again, not really a fight you can really do right now because the boss has extremely high magic defense. So this is not conducive to being able to hit things right now, and that's unfortunate for that fight.
Yes, it is. And, unfortunately, as Chad has pointed out, for Dragus Cloud, Rydia is in the middle slot. So using that self-summon to clear through that Antlion actually used up all of her MP. So I don't know if they have a way now to get their MP back up. Okay, actually going to be burning that Ether 2 to do it, which I don't blame them, but who knows if you may never see another Ether 2 again the rest of the seed.
Yeah, Tough's having to drop. It's tough having to drop something that's like that valuable of a consumable this early on for somebody who obviously can't use all of that at all. But sometimes you just don't have a choice, especially when you don't have money to buy stuff. I think we did see cabins somewhere, so unfortunately he didn't have one of those to use, but it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, cabins would be a great buy, but they're still pretty pricey for the low amount of gold. Again, low amount of gold that we've started with. These other, if it's not Cure 2s or life pots, you really want to think about, do I really want to buy this, or can I afford to buy it, knowing what else I may need to buy to get me through the rest of this?
Yeah, there's a lot of strategizing. I mean, bosses do, enemies do give gold, but still, it takes a while, and early game bosses are not going to give you enough gold to buy anything. So it's going to be a while till either of these runners really get enough gold to actually be able to do a whole lot. But at least for the time being, they're kind of starting to claw their way back into the seed. It looks like with Dragus now having the levels and some HP on that Rydia, that she is able to actually just sylph her way through everything. So early game is basically done. And obviously Zoe now has all of the characters and is kitted out with the best of the least helpful characters because, hey, except for Rosa, obviously.
Yeah, but once V can make it through ordeals to get Cecil online, yeah, I know we have an Eddie, I know we have a Rydia, but we get Cecil up, we get Rosa some levels. V's team's going to be looking pretty strong. Dragus Cloud does make it through that Dark Elf first time through. I have to imagine that we will be saving. They will before heading into ordeals, considering everything that they've kind of, went through. And we'll be heading in to see who that boss is.
Gosh, it's probably going to be something that like is actually surprisingly tough here. Like, no, maybe Golbez would be kind of gross, but even an evil wall, like, what are you going to hit him with?
Well, yeah. I mean, you have that self summon. Having a wyvern, surprise wyvern here would be kind of rude. Odin, scary in other places, not so much here. One self summon will take care of this.
Yeah, that's good. This is super good for Dragus Cloud. Get a gross boss out of the way, and this is absolutely doable here. So pretty quick, and Dragus Cloud got the magma key, his first key item actually. So he's going to be able to head underground before Zoe does. Although Zoe's obviously done a lot more work with the overworld and has 3 key items already. So V has definitely done more work, but we're going to see a little bit of, well, I mean, Zoe's going to be basically on his tail, but we're going to see a little bit of divergence here, where most likely where Dragus might be running underground and doing stuff. Although it could end up being that he goes to take on that Mist Dragon / Cecil and try and grab him to at least have somebody to hit with stuff.
Okay, so Zoe goes to Mysidia, picks up a silk web out of the item shop, and then goes to, this is very interesting, talks to the dancer in Mysidia who will turn them all into pigs.
Oh my gosh. Astounding. I've never seen anyone do this in a raid.
I've never seen anybody do this either. I can't imagine Zoe is doing this strictly for the memes, for the lulz. I have to imagine there's a point to this, but then again, maybe not. Zoe is just feeling very saucy tonight and decides to give us all a look at something that I can't imagine ever happens in a tournament.
Yeah,
I love it, but it's amazing.
It's memeing pretty hard. I think V is probably just like, listen, Seed, I need to do something fun here. This has been a nightmare, so I'm gonna do what I want. But still both racers pushing through as much as possible, and Zoe is headed toward deals, of course. So we'll see when V gets that magma key where V ends up going. But at least V has some actual physical DPS. That the Cave Magnus could be maybe doable at this level. At least give Rosa the ninja hat and a real good bow and arrow, and maybe that's actually a fight that you can do.
Yeah, for me, I'd still probably want to get some levels up on that Cecil, before heading to Cave Magnus. But maybe V could get through it with the Rosa getting her some extra levels with that bow on her. Dragus Cloud, meanwhile, does decide to beeline it down into the Fey March underground to pick up their freebie and to see possibly what 2 bosses here await them.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Just kind of getting a little more lay of the land. Dragus Cloud has not found the Darkness Crystal. Does not know that sirens are up there, so shops are still, shops still have other J item usage, but that's going to be really helpful. Oh, but Dragus Cloud in the freebie here, the rat tail spot in Fey March gets an Earth Crystal. Actually, not a bad thing to find right this second, because there's characters there, and Dragus Cloud doesn't have it. Still has just the starters. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him going over, maybe raiding that treasury, actually, with the given the lack of superpower that he has right now, and then maybe potentially going up and trying to take out those bosses and try and get 2 new characters.
Yeah, I would absolutely. As soon as I do my checks under here, if I'm Dragus Cloud, I'm gonna be beelining it for, that treasury. So good news, bad news time. At the Leviathan spot, that is the gauntlet. That's 5 fights, normal fights pulled from the area. That also gives us that information. Actually, no, it doesn't. I was thinking about the opening boss at Baron, but that was a purple robe we saw. So
Right, right. That's one of the Mylons. But still, yeah, you get that information. Obviously, you see another blue robe somewhere. The fastest fight and the slowest fight in the game are both behind the same blue robe. So you don't know if you're going to have five consecutive fights that are going to be a pain in the neck, or if you're going to have a water hag that's you just swing your stick at 3 times.
yeah,
so
that was a Golbez at the Shura spot. Maybe not particularly threatening later. Right now, though, I want nothing to do with that.
Yeah, no, you're just not fast enough, honestly. Like having 2 characters is nice for memeing, especially if you have like a Golbez at an early spot. It's totally cool. But if you have a Golbez at a Shura, you just don't. You're not fast enough. You gotta have some actual. You gotta have some actual levels. You probably have to be you have to have your agility anchor with a low agility, and everybody else pretty fast with some levels on to be able to actually get some moves off before Golbez just starts throwing fire.
Yeah, we see Dragus Cloud. We'll be going back to Fabul to check Sheila 1 for a potential key item, and then do have to wonder where they're going to be heading next. Because they're not strong enough to take on Zot, but do you go to the Treasury just to kind of beef up this team, or do you try to take your your luck to get that Cecil out of Baron Inn? We know Dragus doesn't know that there's a completely free fight waiting for them at the Baron spot 2. So yeah, I'll be very curious to see where Dragus heads after this.
Yeah, I mean, I believe he checked, so he knows that Miss Dragon and Cecil are there. And he picked up a black sword. Well, I guess, right, that's right. He's already gone to Ordeal, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to take on some of the like less spicy checks that have at least a character in it. At least it's like a face that like will take damage. Because at this point, there's so little, characters you can't like fill up a queue or anything. That you're gonna want a lot. You're gonna want more folks just in your party trying to do some work, even when things are gonna be tough.
Yeah, Zoe gets through Dark Imp at that back attack spot in Ordeals. Going to be heading into to get Cecil online. Zoe's looking pretty good here. As we just about to cross the 35-minute mark into this nightmarish seed.
Yeah, it's very, very slowly trying to they're both runners are trying to pry the door open on the seat and actually be able to get in, and they're very slowly getting there, but it is a slog. So, but yeah, Dragus Cloud. I mean, I would say Zoe is definitely in the lead right now. Dragus Cloud's done stuff that Zoe can't because Zoe is just getting the Magna Key now. But Dragus Cloud's basically repeating the stuff that Zoe's already done, and Zoe's already done the moon and gotten sirens and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I have the feeling Zoe, feels pretty good about V's play because of, I just think back to that cheeky Nasidia play. Now that has 5 characters, and, after this, getting Cecil up, I think I could see Zoe making a dive. I have to imagine V's going to go underground first, but then after that, V, I would imagine, will go for that Twin Heart play.
Yeah, I mean, it would behoove either runner at this point to do required. So, when you have a required objective sitting burning in your pocket, you don't want to leave it hanging too long. So I think that Verteam is going to be able to take that on now, hopefully. Now that there's a little bit of levels and actual physical damage can actually be done, that Cecil has a light sword, I believe Zoe found on, was it on Mount Hobbs, I believe? And so that's a huge damage advantage. So Zoe is going to actually be able to do a little bit of work, and physical damage is what you need in that place. So that's huge. That's a huge advantage.
Yeah, Dragus now going back to Hobbs to get that Rosa. Would have to imagine has a much better chance of getting through this Hobbs than initially. Zoe does finish up ordeals. We'll see where V heads to next.
Oh yeah, looks like V's heading underground. Not too surprising. Lots of stuff to check, lots of shops. A couple freebies, a couple boss face checks, because we still have 2 bosses that are required objectives. Obviously, you only need 4 or 5, but face checking bosses anywhere you can is absolutely imperative, because you're gonna need to find them. And so yeah, anytime you can just look at a boss and not actually have to fight it, that's super good. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes immediately to Fey March as well, and also gets that Earth Crystal.
Yeah, Dragus decides to just Zerk up Rosa. Does actually reset out of that fight, which is a little bit surprising to me. I think they probably could have done it, but decides maybe it's just not worth the time right now. We'll come back at a later point. Decides instead to pick up that Cecil out of Baron Inn, which I don't blame them for. Because they know once they get that Cecil, then they can really just tear through that valve.
Yeah, no, this is the call, especially because it's a discount double check. You get the Mist Dragon check, which we know obviously is Darkness Crystal, and you get the other item as well, which now it's totally blanking on. Was that the harp was behind Mist, right? Heck, brain.
I believe harp was behind Mist.
That's okay,
yes.
That's right.
Yeah, and Chad is confirming for that as well.
Yeah, and then Darkness was the key item here at the inn itself. So that's an incredibly important fight. But yeah, Dragus shouldn't have too much trouble here. Actually gonna do the damage and take out King Evelyn. Makes that fight a little bit faster, although this is one of the slowest spots in the game.
Yeah, Zoe does check the shops here. I don't think they found anything worth picking up. I'm going to be checking out Tomer now to see what's available there. Wonder if he's looking for maybe Hourglass 2s. V hasn't been to the Fey March yet, so V doesn't know that. I think coffins were available there, if my memory serves.
Oh, coffins. Yeah, those are... Oh, gosh, coffins are extremely useful J items. Ooh, a bandana. Getting a couple good items here. And the job dwarf, was that ATM service manager? Is that what I saw, I believe? Validating the seed.
ATM machine servicer, I believe.
Oh, there we go. Okay, but yeah, V validated the seed, and V is a victor because of that. So thank you very much, Zoe.
Yeah, Zoe very much proving to be a runner of the people tonight. Hitting all of the beats, the familiar ones and the very unfamiliar ones. So people very much appreciate that.
Yeah, was not expecting the pig play. That was really interesting. I was like, wait, what's going on? That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I have that as a note to ask V after the race. You have to ask the important questions. Why did you go to Mysidia to turn everyone into pigs?
But in the meanwhile, Zoe is looking at going back and treading the ground that Dragus did, and Dragus is treading the ground that Zoe did. So we're getting a little bit of overlap here, but they're both kind of catching up a little bit to each other. So we'll see where this goes, but it's going to be a little bit of they're still creeping their way back in, but I don't think it'll be too long until we see one of them make a play and actually go somewhere new or take on that harp at Magnus. So.
Yeah, we see Zoe still looting here in Fey March, not finding anything super amazing here. We'll be checking, Steve will be checking the freebie here. Also going to be seeing that Gauntlet and that Golbez here. Also, don't imagine V takes either one of these at this point. Certainly not the Gauntlet.
Ugh, yeah, no, I don't think V has the power to even do that. Although that, I mean, once V does, like that might be almost, well, I mean, sirens are already available. That's a good fight for grinding though, if you don't have other sources of grinding. But thankfully with hope, well, I mean, with the limited number of sirens, given the limited amount of cash, it might be the way to go. But at least there are other kinds of options in terms of grinds and getting some XP on these characters.
Yeah, I mean, the ever popular one is to take eggs underground. There's two different spots where you can use those sirens to get eggs. Neither one of our runners have 10 key items, but you can find a way to quickly get through one of them. That's 34,000 XP and a quick influx of power to your team.
Definitely, and both these runners need all the power they can get. We're 43 minutes in, no objectives completed. No objectives. Well, I mean, obviously we still have, that heart-burning hole in Zoe's pocket, but other than that, not really a whole lot of objectives or gate. Not a whole lot of what they need to get ahead in this seed. There's a lot of key items that they still require here. Neither piece of forge has been found. The hook and the pink tail have not been found. So that's 4 key items right there. Even if one of them doesn't end up getting done, that's still a lot of places they need to check.
Yeah, and you have that moon looming too, behind that darkness crystal. Neither runner feels at all comfortable, which I absolutely do not blame them for wanting to check any of those spots down there. This party is nowhere near the ability to take any of those bosses that may be down there.
Yeah, no. There are just not a lot of places that they are powerful enough to really check at this point. But I'm guessing that the easiest things here are basically Dwarf Castle and Zot and Magnus. So
speaking of Zot, we're doing everybody's favorite game. It's Rate That Treasury time.
Rate That Treasury!
Hoping the back half of this treasury ends up better, because so far the best we found is a white spear, as Zoe has to fight inventory boss to clear out some of these loot.
Stardust Rod is nice. Aegis Shield, a couple of bits of armor in here, but overall, that's not great. Yeah, a little bit of armor though for Cecil. That's going to keep him alive. That's actually that's not bad. There's I think even an Aegis Shield too.
I mean, the rules say we have to come up with a rating for this. I don't know. What would you say? It's maybe a white spear Stardust Rod out of 10.
I mean, we don't even know if Kane's in this yet, so I think it's really a Stardust Rod and a couple of pieces of armor out of 10. I give it like maybe a 5.5. I mean, Pro is definitely not as good a treasury ever, but that's still pretty not great for this current party. Except Stardust Rod is good. Stardust Rod is definitely going to make either Tella or Rydia more powerful with those spells. So, could be worse. But yeah, if there's no Kane, or if Kane doesn't come in time for that white spear, then that's even worse.
Wow, and we do see Dragus Cloud actually heading up to Zot. Going to be taking the first chest, and gets fortunate enough to find that Flame Dog here at a chance for a higher tier loot item, hopefully to snag. It's a low chance, but hopefully, to snag a tier 6, tier 7 item out of this.
Yeah, if you find a crystal sword out of this, that just breaks the whole game open. But on the plus side, also, Dragus Cloud gets levels on Cecil, because Cecil is just level 1 there. So just that alone will power him up. I didn't see how many levels it was probably like 8 or 9.
Well, I can tell you that's not a crystal sword. That is a what is that? A gold apple?
Gold apple, AU gold. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it'd be good money if you could sell it. It's a lot of HP for somebody if you need it, but yeah, it's super not what you're hoping for. But the XP is really probably what he was going for the most in that, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. The XP is nice. You're still gonna have to find a way to get through these two spots. So you know, Dragus is hoping for somebody not rude, whereas the rest of us are hoping for uh, somebody that is. Trying to think who could be pretty bad here, but we'll get our answer in a second.
That ain't it. That's free. That's a water hag right there. That's a 3 hits and you're done.
Yeah, that's
so yeah,
just a hold A and you win, assuming all 3 hit. Dragus not going to be taking any chances, going to be queuing up that self summon there. So now it's just up to, I believe it would be Teller to get their turn next, as to how to finish this off.
Now, one thing I'm watching Zoe over here. V is actually going back to the moon and going to take on those guards in Cave Bahamut. This is a really good call. It's going to give some XP. With 5 characters, even if they're fast, like you got pretty good odds at throwing out coffins. I believe that's all you really need here. And since this is Baron, okay, it's Baron guards, so they're a little bit punchier. But if you can get 2 of the coffins off in time, then freebie win, and you get whatever key items under it, and you get some good XP.
Yeah, we do see them punch extremely hard. 2,300 against Rosa, 1,800 against Tella. Coffin does come out. We get one of the guards. Unfortunately, won't be. Oh, does actually get the life glitch off. I missed Cecil queuing that up. So that's a very heads up play. Now it's just a matter of using the coffin on the other guard, and of course, board strikes again, striking the small child that has the coffin queued up. Cecil does have that queued up, so we'll be getting a nice influx of XP for this.
That Cecil just gained 23 levels. That wasn't so bad, but yeah, wow, gets through that fight. Dragus Cloud, on the other hand, going through Zot now and gets a Fusoya. So we were looking for power, and we might have just found some power. And Zoe gets a Tiara for Troubles. That's not what you're hoping for here. It's, obviously it's good defense. It's best in slot helmet for Rydia, but you want a key item. But the levels aren't bad, although only Cecil and Edward got them. So that that wasn't as fruitful as I think Zoe hoped. But yeah, Dragus, if he can get some good spells on this Fu, I'm not sure what his starters are. I don't know if he's checked yet. Then he might have a big advantage here just in terms of power.
Yeah, Zoe had to take a little bit of time to go back to the moon to do this check. Dragus starts with Quake or Virus or maybe even Nuke. Might be a little early for that. But yeah, we'll be being able to make up some real big ground here to try to, kind of hopefully regain the advantage that Dragus would like.
Well, speaking of advantages, Zoe going to the required here, taking on that Cave Magnus. So we're going to see, we're going to hear the wonderful stylings of DJ Spoonie B, as often said. So normally you hear, for those not aware, normally when you play vanilla, you get the little kind of nice harp tune when Edward plays the twin harp to break you out of the spell to be able to beat the dark elf. But in the rando case, we like to randomize everything here, and so a number of folks, including Boardface and Calm Lamity especially, have contributed to putting out a bunch of other awesome harp songs from all sorts of other games or pop culture references or all sorts of stuff that are fantastic. And you never know what you're going to get. So, I always look forward to this. Honestly, this is maybe my favorite meme in the game, being able to get some amazing tune out of this. So V's on her way to getting the first objective. We're going to see this seed for this race, really. But also getting some good tunes for all of us to listen.
Yeah, and seeing, I like to see that divergence now that we're this far into the seed. Dragus, unfortunately, did throw out a self-summon against that Pale Dim. Pale Dim does not like it when you use summons against it. It counters with a very nasty Quake, and especially at this spot here, the spot where Val would usually be. The magic attack is extremely high, so that Val can get those petrifies off. I laugh. Dragus decides to throw on float, so that Dragus decides to throw out another Sylph. Is going to be laughing at those Earth counters now.
Honestly, I think that nuke, this Sylph Pale Dim will probably be crumbling after this because not a lot of HP left. But anyway, let's be quiet for a moment and enjoy the wonderful stylings of DJ Spoonie B. Please listen and enjoy. Awesome, and that was Neon Knight Riders from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo. Rad. I had no idea, actually. I'm glad that Chet stepped up and helped me out there. Meanwhile, Dragus Cloud did get the Adamant Rock from Zot, so that's required as well. Oh, and Zoe gets double required, so this is hard required Magnus. V gets the pink tail, and that's one of the objectives as well, so that's huge. You need that harp. And honestly, one thing that's a little concerning, I believe Dragus did not do Mist yet, so he does not have that harp yet, so hopefully he does not forget that, because that's hard required.
Yeah, that's a great point. And being this far into the seed, you can absolutely be forgiven if you forget Mist, just because of how long it's been. But yeah, hopefully Dragus remembers to do that. Sid comes out of the back at Dwarf Castle, decides to take Sid, and that's a Baigen at the back attack spot for him. And Zoe now actually going to be going through the Troya chests, the Troya shops again. But yeah, I just wanted to shout again back real quick to that harp song. How could you not be hyped after listening to that?
Yeah, I think we just got to harp on about how awesome that tune was, honestly.
That was good. I like that.
I'm not great with puns. Occasionally, I was like, okay, I got one. I finally got one. I got to do it, guys.
If you have it, you have to go for it. Absolutely.
Most definitely. But it's interesting, yeah. Like, Dragus has the advantage of nukes, but Zoe is going to get that soon, at least. But without that objective, without that hard required, that it might not mean anything.
Yeah, this nuke advantage, yeah, absolutely could be withering away here pretty soon. You know, unless unless this gives Hook maybe, and maybe that. I'm trying to think what's going to spurn Dragus to remember to check Mist. Because sometimes you just get just some omen or something that pops in your head that says, "Oh wait, I need to go back and check this."
I mean, a Baron Key would absolutely be the best thing for him, because that would send him back in that direction, and maybe he'll go, oh heck. But a Zeus Gauntlet is what he gets instead. A really good item for physical DPS. Not going to be upset about it from that standpoint, but it's not required in any way. None of this really helped him at all. That Sid is probably just going to be on the floor. Probably going to be the anchor for the rest of the seed. But that's about all. That's about all he got for that whole trip. So Zoe is quickly catching up and gonna get that nuke. But I think the time of this seed being difficult and struggling, frustrated racers is quickly going to go away, because nuke makes things blow up. Nuke finishes seeds off. So I think both racers will be able to take out the overworld pretty handily, except for possibly the summon boss stuff.
Yeah, nuke is just one of those spells that just hits through pretty much anything and takes a lot of the thinking and guesswork out of a particular boss. It's just no overthinking. Just throw your strongest spell at it and throw it at it a couple more times, and you win. So Dragus Cloud gets through this now, and you have to wonder, where are they going to be heading next? Will he be going and taking, does have that tower key in hand? Is he going to be going to tower to take out those two spots? That's probably very tempting for him to do that.
Yeah, with the tower key, honestly, that might be his next play. You're right, because it's two relatively quick checks. If he's feeling the need for some gear, there's 4 monster boxes, and he now has a Sid with a hammer, which means they will be one shot. Which means he absolutely could run through and start smacking stuff and getting crystal swords or all sorts of great gear, or he could just run through, which it seems like is what he's doing. Either way, we're going to see if Tower's fruitful at all.
Yeah, the problem with these trap chests here at this lower battle spot is the chances of pulling one, a tier 7 item. I want to say it was in the neighborhood of 20% maybe, and someone in chat can certainly correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not the overwhelming odds of pulling something like an Avenger as it was in Swiss Flags. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit tougher to pull out. And Pos Morpheus in chat pointing out that it's 15% for tier 7 on T-Pro on a trap chest. So while Dragus can clear it out quickly, it's still, just a low chance. But maybe that chance is worth it. But then again, you have a Fu with nuke, so right now it may not seem worth the time. Although you may want to think about Z time, what your strategy is going to be in there. So.
Yeah, I mean, that one little chest that Zoe picked up on Hobbs with that light sword may be a tremendous source of advantage right now, because that's going to make Cecil way more powerful than the poison axe Cecil that Dragus Cloud is now using. So that's a pretty big help, and that's obviously like that. A light sword Cecil is Z ready. I mean, that it's not the best. Those aren't the best swords that he can get, but those are definitely good. And we're definitely getting some elements here, but we're not getting the ones. Let's see. I guess. Oh yeah, we just had elements itself, and now we're getting. I guess Rubicante wanted to hang out 2 places at once on this tower. being a little conceited here. It doesn't need to be in more than one place. Come on, what are you doing?
I think he wants his revenge. I think it's what it comes down to. He took kind of a rough loss there. I don't even think he even got a chance to fight and said, you know what, I got to hang back. I got to try to take this on and try to redeem myself. Not realizing that Dragus has nuke. It's a little unfortunate for him. You wish he kind of saw the same things that we did, but that's tough breaks for him.
Yeah, Nuke's not so great with leg. Unfortunately, I don't think Rubicon remembered to put on the SPF 10 trillion sunscreen, so those nukes are going to be going through and putting on a little bit of a burn.
Yeah, maybe he thinks by putting the cape up, it will help reduce damage from nuke, but only reduces damage from ice elemental spells. So nuke will be absolutely going through cape or no cape.
Yeah, sorry, like, oh, whoa. So Zoe just found a cursed ring in, is it Silvera? I always forget these shops. I think it's Silvera. So that's huge because now that's an advantage that Zoe has, Dragus does not, but that's a minus 15 agility item that you can put on your agility anchor so that the relative agility of everyone else in the party is going to be much faster, and that's the best item for that in the game. You want that on your anchor as much as possible.
Yeah, so you wonder what the play is then. I mean, that's a heads up play at this stage in the game to go back and say, you know what, I want to go try to find a curse ring. Silvera's a little out of the way for what you're doing, but that's just feels so good to pull that out. We'll be heading up the tower. You wonder if V will be heading to Feymarch after this. Maybe depending on how many key items V has after the end of these two checks. Now we know there is a Legend Sword that Dragus just pulled, so that is objective number 1 on the table, ready to go whenever Dragus turns that in.
Yeah, this seed was definitely not kind with key items early on, but it seems like they're starting to throw in all the objective stuff here. We haven't seen either required boss objective, but we just got both pieces of Forge, and obviously Zoe got that pink tail from Magnus, so things are starting to come into place here a little bit, but there's still quite a bit left to find. Zoe still needs to find a hook, and one of those 2 bosses for Go mode, or both of the bosses. So while things have gotten a lot closer to completed over the last just 15 minutes, maybe there's still plenty to look for and plenty of work to do.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, it's true, because really we're only looking for one key item at this point. We're only looking for the hook. So, it's 2 boss checks that we're kind of roaming around, face checking and looking for, but you really want that hook. For me, I would try to pull that out of the 2 Feymarch spots before leaving Earth. Unfortunately, it's not the hook, it is the pass, which is still nice to see. For Dragus Cloud anyway, we'll be turning that objective number 1. But for me, and every runner's different. Some may choose to go Moon, some will decide to take on Feymarch. Even with that gauntlet fight, I'd almost rather see what that is. I'd hate to think that that's sitting waiting for me. This whole time that I can turn in, that pink tail.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, obviously, most of the objectives on the planet, other than Feymarch, are much easier. But I guess there's 2 competing ideas here. One is, wouldn't it be great if you complete the overworld and then, you get that hook, and then you don't have to come back to the planet. Actually, you could just fly to the moon and face check every boss until hopefully you find what you need for Go mode. So that would be definitely an advantage. But also, maybe you want to just go to the moon where there's just way more key item checks in general, and as we know, Zoe's going to also be getting this pass, so that's going to make it so you can come back, complete that objective for the pink tail, and then just take the pass as the quick trip into fight Zeromus from the Troya, from the bar in Troya. And we just saw Dragus Cloud thankfully did just check missed and now has that harp. So that's huge for him. He absolutely
Yeah.
needed that to get back into this game.
Absolutely. And that was one, we had talked about not too long ago, but I had kind of forgot about checking. So when they went there, I said, oh, right. Yeah, they still have to pick up that harp. Dragus Cloud actually choosing to take that Black Chocobo from Baron, I believe, had parked the Falcon at Troya. So that's a heads-up play to remember to do D-miss and then to remember to take this Black Chocobo here. Otherwise, it would have been a little bit more of an awkward, a little bit longer for them to be able to get to the Black Chocobo to fly over to Magnus. Which is good news because it means we get to hear more of that fantastic rendition of that TMNT song.
I mean, thankfully, the seed has a required music, so we have to listen to the music. We are required. And I'm not too upset about that. In fact, Dragus Cloud not even worried about saving. He's just like, listen, I got a nuke. Let's just go do this business.
That could be potentially scary, if you run into a wyvern here. Speaking from personal experience at all, even having power overwhelming, you come here at battle speed 1, wyvern still gets an opening mega nuke off and wipes your party, and then it's a definitely real feel bad moment. But we know that wyvern isn't there. It's just an Ashura waiting there. But yeah, we'll be getting their objective done very soon. But we're going to be quiet again for more of Eddie's Rockin' Tunes.
And again, thank you for the reprise, Dragus Cloud, and thank you also to the seed, since it is required. And obviously, Dragus will be getting the pink tail. So, basically getting all the way all the way caught up with Zoe in terms of the actual checks. Zoe is actually now treading back on the ground that Dragus Cloud did. So while Zoe, I think, definitely had a bigger advantage earlier on, um, there's Dragus has made up some of that ground, partially because Zoe didn't had some bad luck, tried to do that Cave Bahamut play, and that didn't end up really doing much of anything. But you know, at the end of the day, they both are relatively equally powered. So we're seeing things kind of evening out a bit, which is good.
Yeah, I was trying to think too in my head. I'm like, they're both kind of neck and neck at this point, and I think you're right because of that Bahamut play. I also think because Dragus is, um, I don't want to say clean things up. It's not like they played poorly, but I think kind of got, maybe a little rolled a little bit with the way ordeals went for them, but. Yeah, now it's just settling into a nice little groove, which I think you can thank Fu for that. Fu with Nuke can help anybody stabilize a situation that kind of went south. Nuke does very nice things.
And Zoe is headed to the moon. Actually, Dragus Cloud may also be headed to the moon. Are we just basically getting both of them back to back at the same place here? Oh, I'm sorry. Dragus Cloud is actually Cave Bahamut. So he's going to be going and doing this fight that Zoe's already done, most likely, and finding out that there's nothing great with it. I forget what was there, but it was a tiara. That's right. Not what you're looking for. But Zoe is now heading into the lunar subterranean, already having made that check, and V is going to be looking at all sorts of bosses down there. I wouldn't be surprised if he just starts face checking bosses to see if there's a required down there in the first place.
Yeah, and V knows that V has the pass, so even if you do find those two bosses, you can exit out, turn in that forge, immediately turn in that pass, and go right to Z. So there's not necessarily going to be any backtracking here unless there's a rabbit hole. We find a Baron key and a pan maybe that V wants to maybe check first before checking the rest of the bosses here.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, I don't know. I guess Zoe does have a couple of sirens. I don't know if he found any were there hourglasses in any shops, or did he find any in any chests? Because I'm wondering if V would want to take a couple of monsters at this point. Unfortunately, V has 9 key items, so it's one away from what V wants for that 10 key item double XP. So that's unfortunate, but at this point, I think that Zoe just needs to move on and start hitting some stuff, and hopefully we'll find that key item in the process.
Yeah, V, I gotta imagine, is going to be taking that White Spear altar to get up to that 10 key item. The spot doesn't have a lot of XP to begin with, even if you have 10 key items on. So, the hope is you clear this spot, you find you find an objective.
You find an objective, exactly.
That free boss, yes, and there you go. This could also be hard required if Bahamut does give. Well, I shouldn't say hard required. If it gives the hook, then it would be hard required. But I'm sure I have to imagine Dragus Cloud is going to be heading down there as well as soon as they get through this Baron guard spot. But yeah, certainly a very nice boss you like to see at this point in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I would be very curious what Zoe decides to do next. Obviously, you could just go and do like any of the objectives at this point, or I mean any of the boss spots, and just get the key items out of it. But Zoe may just want to face check every boss and just like see who that boss is, and see if I don't actually have to worry about checking everything else because Leviathan's here. Although honestly, you find a Leviathan basically in any other spot on the lunar subterranean, and you're not going to have a great time. Leviathan can be real tough, especially in spots other than this one and Crystal Altar, where the magic's really low, the magic's high everywhere else, and like those ices that get cast between the waves will do a serious amount of damage.
Yeah, for me, just speaking for myself, you would want to get another key item here, and then that gives you incentive to push to the ribbon room to get that extra boost of XP. I believe it gives 205 experience. Unfortunately, gets an objective done, only gets a black shirt as a reward. That is really not what you want to see from this. This makes the next decision very interesting. If he decides to go to Crystal Sword Altar, or actually, I meant to say Massa Altar, maybe to pick up a key item there before taking on that ribbon room, just because of that massive influx of XP.
Yeah, I mean, that black shirt's nice, gets thrown right on Rydia. Rydia's got real good gear, so you're not too upset about that. But Zoe's still looking for that 10th KI to get that double XP, potentially to get items necessary for go mode. But really just getting that 1 KI and like making all of the fights here give a lot more experience will be huge for this party, because this party definitely needs a little bit of work.
Well, speaking of rude bosses again, there is an evil wall here who's going to hit extremely hard and extremely fast. Hopefully, we'll be getting some blinks out here. Does throw out a berserk, but yeah, this is not going to be a very fun spot to fight this very, very nasty wall.
Yeah, this evil wall is especially evil here. Honestly, I don't think Zoe's not going to have a shot here. And Dragus Cloud over here on the, I believe the Murasame altar, finding the wrong noodle, the more painful one, and also the one you don't need for a required objective. But looks like he's still going to try and go through it. Obviously, nukes change everything. Just being able to throw out nukes and and kind of get heavy damage on that and then that happens and it's over, because Ogopogo hits hard like a truck.
Yeah, and yeah, you want to throw out the nukes, but you want to be healed up, because if you throw out magic against it, at least a nuke, I should say, certain spells are situational. Nuke's going to have him counter with a blaze, which will do 25% of your max health to the entire party.
Yeah, well, Zoe, not a big fan of that evil wall, goes over to the Ogopogo spot and finds Dark Imps, which do not have the boss bit and can thus be beaten by stone, and gets hook and go mode. We are on.
Yeah, so wow, knowing that you have go mode now, what's your plan now? I don't know if V had picked up Stack of Sirens or not, or picked up any Sirens. I actually don't know how many Sirens V has, or will be doing some other kind of grind strategy. Maybe just going down to crack eggs in the underground.
Yeah, I mean, my guess would be, without hourglasses, that you just do the eggs and coffins if he still has some coffins, or just use nuke, because who cares. But those eggs are definitely the way to go, and Zoe can just get all of the eggs done necessary and go hit go use that pass and go hit Z and done. This is definitely one track mind, no checking anything else. Just go back to that planet, make some omelets, and then go fight a butt.
Yeah, and it works out because V still has to go to the underground to forge. Unfortunately, Coco will forge Legend Sword. That's all fine and good. Will turn it into an X-Cal, but being, the stingy nature of this seed of the flag set, decides he will keep it instead. Will give you nothing other than your objective. So, not going to be getting that high power tier 7 X-Cal.
Yeah, unlike in the Swiss flags, there was an objective to do forge, which is, you just do it and then you get the X-Cal. But there's also an objective, or what is it? I forget. Objective mode, I believe is what it's called, which is called Forge the Crystal. And that's what is actually on here. So that objective mode does not give you an item. And Zoe gets a defense sword from the rat tail, but the pink tail is go mode. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Zoe still has to forge, but Zoe has the forge items, so Crystal will be in hand shortly.
Yeah, but you could say Zoe's pretty much in go mode at this point. That's kind of the sad point we are with these bracket seeds, where you find a defense sword and you're actually pretty excited about that, uh, just because of the lack of real loot we found or can find in these seeds. So yeah, defense sword will be putting in some good work. I don't know how much money Zoe has to actually buy anything, if the shop has anything worthwhile, but uh, Zoe may decide to peek the shop or may not have any money. Actually, I think V has maybe about 10,000 gold, maybe less after those sirens. So yeah, I don't think V is going to be checking the shop.
Yeah, the shop is awesome. Unfortunately, if you have no money, it doesn't matter. Yeah, the shop has ribbon. Gosh, does it have? Does it also have a? Oh no, it has a life staff too, which is good for good Healy staff. Best Healy staff actually.
Yeah,
I think
you
it had
can
a
find
couple of.
Zeus Gauntlet too. Yeah, it has a whole nice treasure trove worth of stuff. But the problem is you need the money to buy said stuff, and Zoe does not have the money. Elected to spend it on the sirens, which is the absolute optimal right play to make to get this party Z ready.
Yeah, I mean the party has enough gear at this point. I mean, you know, the, everybody's got a little bit going on. I don't think anybody's gonna be, it's not like anybody's wearing adamant armors, but people are gonna take some hits. At this point, you really just need the HP, and even if you don't have as much magic defense to stop a big bang from doing as much, you can either do it quickly enough, or you can nerf those big bangs and not have to worry about not having great gear.
Now it's still quite a bit to get Rydia up to nuke. I don't imagine V will be syncing all of these sirens to get Rydia up there. I would have to imagine we'll just be getting enough just to get Rosa up to an acceptable HP level, Cecil up there, and then we'll probably just go right to Z.
Yeah, I mean, given how gross this seed is, yeah, I'd be curious actually what Zoe decides to Zoe ends up doing. I think a hybrid strat, if you have a light sword Cecil, it would probably a good idea, because you still have the nuke on Fu. At least that would be something you could reflect a few of those. But I don't, you're not going to be able to. If you wanted to get Rydia up to nuke, you'd be doing it because you want full reflect strats, and I don't think that's going to happen. And it's going to take too long. I don't think Zoe would want to spend the time to go through all that grind, because V doesn't know where Dragus Cloud is, and obviously, like, both these runners have struggled a lot. So I don't imagine getting Rydia up to nuke levels will be in the cards. Although I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, you think about it like you said, depending on if your opponent has finished or not, especially if they haven't finished, you're just thinking, okay, what's the quickest way, what's the most efficient way of my time and resources to just get my party ready to get to Z. Meanwhile, Dragus Cloud did decide to go back after that evil wall, did take another wipe again. Fortunately does find this Bahamut here instead. So, will be kind of ferried along to, his go mode to get to Z.
Yeah, at this point, Bahamut's going to get taken out, and then I have to imagine Dragus Cloud's going to keep fading that evil wall, which is absolutely to his advantage, and he's going to go take on the Dark Imps at Ogo and get the hook and be in go mode himself. But yeah, obviously he still has quite a bit of a disadvantage in terms of time and grinding and everything. Zoe is already kind of pushing all the way through that, so he's definitely has a couple minutes of extra work to do. But anything's possible. But he's got a work cut out for him.
Yeah, I mean the play would be go right down to that Massa altar, take out those Dark Imps, head out to the Ribbon Room. Maybe tempted to go after that Ribbon Room next, which would, get you what you need. But if you want that 10th key item, you want that extra XP, you know, would to me seem like the play to go.
Well, Dragus making a little bit of adjustment here. Maybe move. I think he may have moved Cecil into the middle and switched up his gear a little bit, and hopes possibly of having him anchor. I'm not exactly sure what the play was there. I didn't see. Maybe he put on the Dwarf Axe, but maybe trying to make that evil wall fight a little bit easier. So maybe he's going to give that a second go. Which is, oh, never mind. He's going all the way to go. He's just setting up as much as he can. So either way, he's going to probably be in go mode pretty shortly as well. So that's good for him.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not sure what the play is agility anchoring wise here. Why Cecil goes in the middle here. I don't know if it's an RA situation. Well, never mind. Fu now does decide to go back in the middle, so does get their agility situation, kind of where they want it to be.
Yeah, for sure. I can't imagine. I mean, I don't think there's a way to make Cecil. I mean, unless you get Cecil up to, the next pivot point at 28 agility, Cecil's not going to be doing any sort of anchoring for this party. But Fu's going to do his best. I mean, if Dragus Cloud goes back and gets that curse ring, maybe he slaps it on Fu. I'm not sure what the play is for that in terms of trying to get agility. I guess, I mean, Zoe's, well, I take that back. They both have a Sid, and Sid is actually knocked out too. So Sid's going to be the anchor. So that's not going to be a big deal. But sometimes agility can be just a nightmare to try and configure. But I feel like Sid's one major boon is that you can put a lot of levels into him, and he can still anchor for you.
Yeah, you put a lot of levels into him, and as long as you have something like a Dwarf Axe even, just to kind of just get him under that, that 10 agility, 9 agility, will be doing, work enough just to at least get your party order set up the way you want to. Meanwhile, we'll be going and getting their sirens to get their grind started, knowing that by getting that hook that they are now effectively in go mode.
I mean, I think given where both of these runners are, the fact that they have not seen the other one done yet probably freaks them out, and they're probably super nervous. I can only imagine, when we talk to them in interviews and stuff, like the fact that overworld was so gross, like they both have to feel like they're just playing catch up the whole time. But Zoe doesn't need to catch up any longer. V is headed into Troya, into the what's the name of the bar, cafe, whatever it's called, the pass that lets you into the room where you go to the thingy and go on the portal and enter the inside of the lunar subterrane, where you will meet the final boss of this seed.
I just call it the pass bar. It's the pass bar, yeah. Because that's all anyone ever really goes in there for, other than the check items. But I think everyone knows what time it is. We see these flags coming out in chat. We know that when the crystal gets thrown out, the chances are pretty high we're not going to be seeing vanilla Zeromas here. Chances are pretty high we're going to be seeing one of over, I believe it's 526 sprites. Scala, please correct me in chat if I am mistaken. But kind of the more in question is this butt going to be cute? Is it not going to be cute? What kind of butt will it be? We're going to find out very soon.
Yes, it is time to ask the most important question. Whose butt are we going to kick tonight? I like to think that I say that loud enough that my neighbors are like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, right. What are we talking about butt so loud for? Why is all this butt talk? What's going on here?
Exactly. By the way, everybody, just if you came late or anything like that, just as a quick reminder, Zoe in this race, Dragus Cloud, because of seeding and advantage, having a better score in the Swiss rounds, has a 1-game advantage on Zoe. So if Dragus Cloud wins, he advances to the round of 16. If Zoe wins, V gets a second game, and so Zoe is on her way possibly to be getting that, and we see now the butt. is Fusiomus. I believe this is, Golden Sun, I think.
You may be right. Yeah, it may be Golden Sun, and actually, Skylar Kitty in chat does confirm this is from Golden Sun. I'm not sure if this is from the first Golden Sun or if this is from Lost Age.
It's pretty good butt, though. What do you think? Cute? No cute?
I
Medium
probably
cute?
terrifying, but another part of me wants to say, you know what? Actually, it is kind of cute. I'll go cute.
Yeah, I'm gonna go cute too. I feel like every sprite in this is either cute, funny, or horror. It's one of those three. So this one's definitely
there are a
cute.
few in that are very terrifying
Oh,
and
yeah.
horrifying. Yes.
Wrinklemas is my favorite horror sprite. Always will be. That's Nightmare.
Yes, I have a few of my favorites as well. Looks like going Reflect strats here. Did get enough levels on Rydia to get that nuke up. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how quickly V gets through this, as Dragus Cloud is in the middle of doing their grind fight to get their party Z ready.
Yeah, Dragus shouldn't be too long getting into the same place as Zoe is. But at this point, Zoe's going to have to make a mistake for him to be able to get back into this. But this is obviously a very close match right now. The fact that both of these runners went through that just like meat grinder of a nightmare of an overworld to start the seed, and now are kind of blazing their way through the rest of it. They got to salute both of them for putting in so much work and then finally getting out of it at the end. And just it's tough. I feel like this seed would lay anybody low. It's rough, but they've done great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the back half of this seed was, a lot more kinder to our racers, but yeah, that first half, especially, win or lose for Dragus to pull out and to still continue to move forward and have the focus, after dealing with just, trying to take a grind on ordeals, trying desperately to get their Rydia up in levels, and to still kind of push through this. A lot of credit has to go to Dragus for that.
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been a pleasure watching this too. It's been awesome, but that beginning, like I still can't stop thinking about the beginning because it was so nasty. But yeah, it looks like and we got Crumble. ZoeVermilion gets her first victory, and we get a second match in this. We get the final between them to see who advances to the Sweet 16. So GG's to you, Zoe.
Yeah, no elimination for Zoe. We get a game 3. So we are very excited, and hopefully we'll be joined by Zoe. And actually, we are joined by Zoe now. GG's.
I've still got it, baby.
Yeah, I feel like you were not giving yourself too much props early on, though. I was reading some of what you were saying early, like, I thought you had a great shot, but you played really, really great in a super nasty, disgusting scene. What was going through your mind with the piggies?
Okay, so had I lost, I was gonna play it off as just wanting to show off something that still exists in FE. Since I won, I'll be honest and say I forgot the inn was on the second floor and didn't know who I was supposed to talk to.
That's awesome. Love you, Zoe. That's amazing.
It was on my mind. I was like, all right, cool. As long as this doesn't come down to me losing by 30 seconds, I will not be upset by that.
Yeah, I kind of read it as, you were feeling pretty good about your play and just wanted to just kind of show off a little bit. We were dying here in the booth.
No, I respect Dragus too much to flex on that, even if I think I was ahead. And I definitely did not think I was ahead after taking that wipe to Valvalis the first time.
I can't imagine either of you felt ahead at any point during this entire seat. What did you feel like about I guess basically the entire beginning. I don't even know how to like say what about this one thing, because there were like 48,000 things all like conspiring against both of you. Just a cavalcade of like you have like nobody can hit anything or do anything. Like one of the main advantages you had early on is that you got Rydia. Rydia stayed alive during that Mom Bomb fight when Dragus Cloud fought the Mom Bomb, did not keep her up, and he ended up having to bang his head against fights trying to get just his first XP on Rydia, and it took him a while. So like that little bit at that beginning was a huge advantage. That 1 HP that Rydia had was such a big deal. And then the light sword obviously on Cecil, that was a big thing too. But like what did you feel like just doing that? Like did you feel like afterwards when you're finally done, like you're super behind, you just gotta like sprint and just do anything you can to try and get a lead back?
Yeah, so that early seed was nasty. There was nothing in chests that was going to be particularly useful. There was a bunch of like swords and heavy armor, but nothing really good. And so I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And then I found that one Gaia drum. I found the grimoire, and it's like, okay, that was all I got from Castle Ublin. I'm going to do some more looting, and just still whiff after whiff after whiff. And it was just like, okay, let's just go. And then when I stepped into Antline, I was like, I got to keep looting. And I pulled that self and went, okay, I'm done. I can, if I can keep Rydia alive through this fight, I can start making some headway on this. And then the Mom Bomb was nearly a disaster. And everything else in the overworld was just, did not mesh well with the party that we were given. Fortunately, that DKC was only guarded by King Queen Eblin. I was ready to go in and like, all right, cool, I've got a grimoire and I've got Sylph, and I'm just going to do everything I can to try and push through this, because I wanted that before Ordeals, just to have another body. And fortunately, I just was like, all right, cool, King Queen, excellent.
Yeah, that was like the one easy thing on the entire overworld was that King Queen. That was it.
Yeah,
and of course it ended up being double required because you ended up getting Harp, and then Harp had half a forge. But
yeah,
still, yikes.
Yeah, and then just getting to Ordeals. It wasn't the most friendly Ordeals. It wasn't terrible, but Dark Elf in the back attack's kind of annoying. And if he had piggied Rydia instead of Tella, that would have gone really poorly. But ultimately, I was feeling behind the entire way through. I thought I made up a little bit of headway when I did make it through the Rosa finally and got that light sword, which ultimately didn't matter too much. But I think the big confidence builder for me was pulling the Fu, and I think it was the Adamant from Zot, because I know that Zot is not always a popular play, especially when there's no character objectives that we rolled. It was just bosses. But I was also just so stressed when I got to Zot that I didn't pay attention to who the boss was there. So the entire time I'm going through Tower, and I'm just basically a hook and a boss away from go mode. I'm like, if that was Bahamut or Leviathan and I get a hook here, I'm going to feel so stressed out, because then it's like well, do you go do Dwarf and just try and get a key item you don't need if it wasn't there, or do you go to the moon and try and find one of your bosses, but oh, surprise, they were actually there. Fortunately, the seed didn't play that trick on me, and I didn't get a vanilla hook.
Oh gosh, yeah, right. That would have been insult to injury on top of everything else. No, yeah, no kidding. But yeah, I mean, thankfully the second half was obviously, well, you had Nuke, and that's all that matters, and you finish everything. So that at least saved both of you from a lot more nightmare, because this definitely early on was a nightmare, but Nuke saves the day. But yeah, so okay, quick question. You now are going to I don't know, can I call it game 2, I guess? It's the elimination match. You've tied up with Dragus Cloud.
It's a game 3 scenario, but it's the second game, yeah.
Exactly. It's an elimination between you, so you've caught up. First of all, when is that? Actually, I don't know.
Tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Spicy. And how are you feeling now that you got this win, now that you've evened it up, now that you've got that one under your belt? What are you feeling about in terms of, your play tomorrow and just, how you're going to approach it?
I have no idea. I don't feel like I played this seed particularly well, but, the results can speak for themselves that I did pull out the win, and I'm not out of the tournament just yet. We'll just have to see what's laid in front of me. One thing going through all my practice seeds recently that I've just come to accept is that I'm only going to win if the seed cooperates with me. I can't, there's very little in my power that I can actually do to force a win. The seed has to cooperate, and so I try not to stress too terribly much, but I am human, so of course I'm going to be anxious.
Are you sure you're human? I don't know. That's a big ask.
Look, I have 2 robot children, but I am human. So, I'm also a cow. There's layers to this.
So you're like Dr. Luge meets a cow, kind of.
Yeah, basically. Oh, but the next spot should be Balnab.
There you go. Bam. Sold.
Anyway, I am gonna get out of here. This was a lot of fun, but I need to go eat some dinner and realize that I'm still in this tournament and I don't get to rest. Y'all just refuse to eliminate me and don't let me rest.
No, that's the best of the best of winning. You know, you have another shot. You have another chance to move on. I don't have a whole lot to add other than just, you know, I think if you go back and watch, I think you'll be more impressed with your play than you realize. Given the absolute nightmare that this seed was, you know, I think you pulled out as best as anyone could hope to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank you both so much for commentating. And then behind the scenes, I know I have Nubari on Restream. I don't know who our tracker is tonight. Klopfer. Thank you so much, all of you, for making this happen. And shout outs to Scala Kitty, the one person in the audience that my naming scheme was intended for, and I hope she got a kick out of that.
Yeah, I even read somebody say something about Scala Kitty being the only one that would probably understand it. So you absolutely nailed it perfectly. So yeah, great job.
All right, y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening. We have a big night of Free Enterprise ahead of us, so enjoy the rest of the races tonight, and hopefully I do well tomorrow.
Yeah,
Bye.
Take care. GG's. All right, well, we have found out that Dragus Cloud has forfeited and he has declined an interview, which is totally understandable. So he will be facing Zoe, same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow. But in the meantime, hang out, because guess what? We've got a doubleheader, baby. Coming right up is the next match, and I should probably know what actually the match is, and I'm going to pull it up now and be all cool like that. It is Possum Orpheus versus Zilch. So if you like really good Free Enterprise content, just stay right here and watch what's coming, because it's going to be spicy. I'm looking forward to it. I bet Lady Id is looking forward to it. And I want to thank you, by the way, for awesome commentary. It's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun, and this has been a great race and great runners, and just it's always so much fun just kind of chilling and hanging out and you know, kind of just talking shop with other people that enjoy Free Enterprise and just having a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. This was an amazing, amazing night, especially to be able to call the first, potential elimination match of the evening. I'm going to be hanging out here, in chat and watching this upcoming amazing race. We have so many more matches coming up. We're really just getting started into this tournament here. Hope everyone, continues to follow through, as we continue for the rest of the bracket tournament. And just want to, before we head off, to give a shout out to our Restream team. We have Niwabari, who put all of this action here for us to watch tonight. Klopfer for our tracker, who unfortunately didn't get a whole lot of work done in the beginning, but as halfway through, able to push a lot of buttons and get a lot of those objectives tracked. To my co-commentator Groundflyer, this was amazing. Yeah, had a lot of fun with you tonight. Please give everyone a follow. And yeah,
thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, everybody, hanging out and chat with y'all, and you're part of what makes this great too. So thank you all so much. But yeah, stick around. At some point there will be a quick transfer to the other restreamer. So I think the stream will go down momentarily, but definitely don't go anywhere, because it's going to pop right back up and a new race is going to be going on. But until next time, it's been a pleasure, and take care of yourselves. Peace out.